What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boa Moose coming at you again. I got another crazy haul video for you today, and it's a lot. Let's just put it that way. I have a lot of stuff, A, come in the mail, but B, some stuff I went and picked up today. And I am going to start with the things that I went and picked up today. These are all PC games from the late 90s, early 2000s, and I'm pretty excited about what I got here. We're going to start with the stuff that I picked up today, go over the big box games, and then we'll move on to the jewel case ones. But there's some stuff I'm unfamiliar with, I'll be honest, and we're starting with one that I am unfamiliar with, and that is Black and White 2. I've definitely heard of it, heard of the first one. Lionhead Studios, I know there's someone well-known, we'll put it that way, affiliated with it, but I have not played the games. I've had a friend tell me that it's a good one, it's worth checking out. So that was in there, and then this one definitely threw me for a loop, and you'll see why. It's Final Fantasy VII, and if you notice right up there, EA is the person who published it, the publisher, and I am definitely confused. I never knew that EA published any of the Final Fantasy games. Obviously they're developed by Square, but yeah, this is just an interesting version in general. There's, it's got all the discs in it and everything, but there is no ESRB rating. Big old case though, I'll tell you that. That would be because I just noticed on the back it is the Asia Pacific edition, not for sale in North America. I don't know if I'm going to play it on the PC anyways, it was just something cool to have, but that was in there. And then something I've been playing a lot of, an earlier version of, is Diablo 3, and that is still a game that a lot of people are playing. I'm waiting for Diablo 4 still. Dang. It's got a big old insert, whatever, the inside, and it's the base game. Something I was actually thinking about the other day. I was like, man, I kind of wish I had physical copies of Diablo 1 and 2 more than 3, but got that. And then another game I am completely unfamiliar with, and that is Indivisible. It's in this big old steel box. It reminds me of the Gears of War Collector's Edition on the 360. It comes in like this lunchbox kind of thing. I don't know, it looks very anime, for lack of a better word. It was in there, definitely not the thing that I was most excited for, nor the reason I bought it, but it was there, and that's pretty cool. A few more actually, the next two I'm unfamiliar with as well. The first one being Nuclear Throne. I have heard that it is, if I can get it to focus, it is kind of a bullet hell thing. Think Enter the Gungeon. You can kind of see it on the back there. Still sealed. Apparently the developer is not around anymore. It's in a cool steelbook, and apparently it's good. I've heard from a couple people now that I, shared my haul with. Another steelbook. This one's an MMO, from what I've gathered on the back, or actually it's on the front. And first month of play included. Ion. I have absolutely no clue how the heck that is pronounced, but that is in there as well. It's in a cool steelbook. It's got all the manuals and everything. I appreciate when people, A, keep their PC games, because I feel like a lot of people typically don't, but B, keep everything in them. I know I was guilty as a young kid back in the Windows XP days of not keeping everything, but that it is what it is. And then a game that you gotta have, a game I've got multiple copies of, Skyrim. This is the launch version of the game. Again, it's got everything in there. It's got a... That is not something I expected to see in here, if I can get it out. So on one side is a nice Dishonored advertisement, but on the other, Prey 2. Prey was a first-person shooter launch game for the 360. Obviously it's become something much different with the folks at Arcane Studios taking it over, but definitely didn't expect to see a Prey 2 advertisement in there. I do wish that we had still gotten a sequel to that original version, but what do you do? And then we got another MMO in here, Age of Conan. I believe it's Hyborian Adventures. Yeah, I never played this. I know my cousin was into it. Not really my thing though. I love the Conan movies, but I've heard the games are a little hit and miss. Or hit or miss, whatever it is, but obviously it's still got everything in there. I love when they keep those slip covers on there. I feel like that's something you don't get a lot of. And yeah, got all the discs and everything. That's pretty nifty. I'm not even sure if there are servers around for it anymore because this is definitely a bit of an older game. And then the next one, something I'm pretty darn excited about, is Quake 4. Quake 4 is, if I can get it, I'm still trying to figure out where the heck I've got my camera set up, is definitely one of, the mid-2000s first-person shooters, kind of associate the genre with. This is in incredible shape. You can't really tell that well on the camera. Developed by, obviously, id Soft, but also in part by a little group called Raven Software, who are doing some other things nowadays, most notably probably Call of Duty Warzone. But yeah, that is super cool, and I can't get the thing to close. There we go. But yeah, good old Raven Software. They've done some other things. I want to say they also worked on Soldier of Fortune. Not 100% sure. They definitely have a long pedigree of first-person shooters, though. And then this one, not really my gig, but Assassin's Creed Unity. I've never actually played an Assassin's Creed game. I know that's blasphemy to some. Others probably don't really care because I've heard the series has, how do you say, become not so much what it once was. But I suppose that's just life. And then here's all the really good stuff. Comes in the jewel cases, naturally. A lot of first-person shooters in here. One of which I was pretty excited to see was Clive Barker's Undying. It's a game that I've not played, but I've definitely heard a lot of. And when I sent a picture to my friends, they were real excited to see that it was in there. Immediately told me great things. So I'm excited to dive into that. And another game that I am familiar with, and I've actually played it recently, is this game. Unreal Tournament 2004. I recently picked it up on Steam, jumped in. Obviously the only people that are still playing it are viciously good at the game. But yeah, good old Epic Games. Back in the days before Fortnite, I mean, they were trying to do a little bit of a revitalization of Unreal Tournament. You can still play the demo, I guess you could call it, demo, beta, alpha, whatever it may be, via Epic Games. It's on there for free. There's not really anybody playing it. If you want to run around and give, I almost called them demos, bots, then that option is there for you. But that is definitely cool to have. I wish it was the big box, but I will still take it all the same. This is a game I'm unfamiliar with, but Blade of Darkness, just judging by the back, it says, become the champion of Vienna as Tukaram of the Urkanoi, Sargon of the King's Knights, Zoe the Adventuress, or Naglfar, the dwarf, hack and slay through this gore-fest quest to save the world from the forces of chaos. Definitely sounds interesting. I think there's, games back those days, a little more willful to get into the blood and everything. But back to the first-person shooters, because that's what we're really here for, is Star Trek Elite Force, or Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I know this is one of the first-person shooters in the Star Trek universe. I don't know if this, does it say anything about it? Of course not. There's one I'm picturing in my head. I'm not going to make a fool of myself, but I do know that that is a first-person shooter. Again, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but published by Activision, developed, it's right next to my finger, by Raven Software. So, kind of a name that's been thrown around a lot. But that's pretty cool. And then, one I was actually just talking about, I didn't realize this was in there, but that is the original Diablo. I have not played the original Diablo before. I was playing Diablo 2 Resurrected yesterday because that new ladder, season, whatever you want to call it, the new leaderboard is up. I dove in, played a little bit, and then Battle.net went down for service, so that's where we're at. It's fun to see these things. Obviously, this is an older game. I think it came out in 95, 96, something like that. But there's an advertisement for other Blizzard games on the back: Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness, and then the Warcraft 2 expansion set. But then, just a little game coming in 1997 called StarCraft. That's pretty cool to see. And then, this is a game I am familiar with, and that is Medal of Honor, Allied Assault Spearhead. Doesn't look like the first version, Allied Assault itself, is in here, which not the end of the world, but something you see on the back, the Battlefield 1942 Road to Rome. I played a lot of that in the early 2000s. Early 2003, so almost 20 years ago. That's crazy. But the Spearhead expansion is really good. Allied Assault is probably my favorite Medal of Honor. I know Frontline's kind of the go-to answer when people are talking to the series, but Allied Assault was the one that came to PC at that time, and it is an A1 game. And then looks like the next two, we got some Star Wars in here, which the first one is Rebel Assault 2. I'm unfamiliar with it. Doesn't look like there's really anything on here. It's just a blank back of the case. You can't really see it. There's a design on there, but it's not much. And then one I do know of, but I've not played, and that is Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. In fact, I think I own it on Steam. I bought a ton of games on Steam at one point. All of them Star Wars are like $50 for every old Star Wars game that was on there. I was like, hey, what the heck, why not? So I definitely have them, am familiar with them, but have not played them. Another game I'm unfamiliar with, but have heard a lot of, just due to the fact that it's pretty highly regarded. That is Thief: The Dark Project, just kind of the pinnacle of stealth games. I know the people that made more recently Dusk, A Medieval, New Blood Interactive, they're working on a game, which I'm blanking on the name of. I want to say it's Gloomwood, that kind of exists in the same space as the Thief games. So I'm looking forward to playing that, and giving this one a go too. I'm currently fixing up a Windows XP computer, and when that time comes, we'll jump in, because I don't have a disk drive on my newest computer. Don't really think about needing them anymore, and then you get into collecting PC games. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then there was an advertisement for Tomb Raider 3 in there, but instead I've just got the first Tomb Raider, the good old Lara Croft games from the late 90s. Never actually played the old ones. I played the newer one, I think it was 2013 it came out. The Crystal Dynamics one, published by Square Enix, I believe. Those ones are really good. I've heard the old ones are pretty darn fun too, and maybe we'll give it a go one of these days. And then another game I'm very excited about. It's a little beat up, but that is the almighty Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Definitely one of the best of the old school shooters. I know it kind of came in at the very tail end. Yeah, developed by Grey Matter, multiplayer by Nerve, and actually it's funny that I'm thinking of that. They've just put Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, which is the awesome multiplayer component of this game, on Steam. And it is on there for the great price of free, as well as Elder Scrolls, I believe it's called Arena, and then Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Those are both on Steam as well. But we've still got more. Like I said, this was a killer haul. I paid the guy $100 for it. I got it off a Facebook Marketplace, and there's some gems in here, and I'm very excited about it. This is one of them. I didn't even know it existed, and that is Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. I'm obviously familiar with Vampire the Masquerade. I want to say it's called Bloodlines. I'm sure someone's going to crucify me for that one. But I was not aware that there is more to that original. I guess it's not original. I believe it's actually a tabletop RPG. But that early 2000s games, those early 2000 games, yeah, it doesn't say that it's expansion or anything. In fact, this looks like it came out before it in 2000. So that's pretty cool. I know that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, whatever it's called, runs on the Source engine, which obviously was more popular the year it came out with a little game called Half-Life 2. But yeah, still pretty cool. This one I'm also unfamiliar with, but I think it has to do with the movie from the 80s. Don't hold me to that, but that is Heavy Metal Fac Squared. Fact 2, I don't know, it says squared on the back, but I have no idea what it is. Just judging by the screenshots on the back, it looks like it's a bit of a hack and slash, which is fine. I'm sure if it's heavy metal, it's way over the top. And so, yeah, got that in there. This is another thing I'm unfamiliar with, but the cover art's pretty damn cool. And that is Giants Citizen Kabuto. And I mean, it's rated M for, what do we got? Animated violence, animated blood. It's weird that that was something that's kind of dropped off as a rating, kind of along with those good old kids to adults rating, the K to A. It's now everyone 10 plus. But that's in there. I don't really know what it is. It looks like a role-playing game, just judging by the screenshots that are on the back. And then something, I don't have the book here unfortunately anymore, but Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. I've actually been reading that first book. Real high fantasy stuff. I imagine this is probably an RPG. Just judging by what is on the back. It doesn't actually say. It runs on the Unreal Engine though, I can tell you that, which we are unfamiliar with. Yeah, the Unreal Engine is something we are familiar with. We talked about Unreal Tournament 2004 earlier, so that's pretty nifty. And this one doesn't have a cover, but it is Star Wars Dark Forces, I believe is all it's called. Yeah, I've not played it. Another game that I do own. I want to say it might be a first-person shooter. Don't hold me to it. There's so many of those Star Wars. I blanked on the name. Star Wars games from the mid-90s, even into the 2000s, that LucasArts was kind of willy-nilly with what they considered canon, which was awesome for people who like Star Wars, and we got a ton of games out of it. Another one that we got, in fact, I've got two more here. And the first one is Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, or Shadows of the Empire. I don't know if this is a first-person shooter. I know it's on the Nintendo 64 as well. Runs on Windows 95. There's quite a few games that run on Windows 95 here. But definitely, it's something I've always thought sounded really cool, like Shadows of the Empire. It sounds like it'd be fun, right? I'm definitely going to have to give it a go. And then this one I was pretty excited to see in there, because I didn't see it originally. If you look at the side, there's nothing on there. Didn't even focus, but whatever. And that is Star Wars X-Wing. A game you have to play with a joystick. Trying to play that with a mouse, it's just not gonna happen. But apparently it's a very, very faithful flight sim, where obviously you fly an X-Wing. So I am pretty excited about that, and we've actually got one more Star Wars game here. This guy that I bought him from was definitely into Star Wars, which is fine. I have no issue with that. But that is Star Wars Galaxies, an Empire Divided. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think this is an MMO. I know there was a Star Wars MMO prior to the Old Republic. And that might be what this is. I'm not 100% sure. It could just be an RPG like Knights of the Old Republic. But I'm not 100% sure. It's got all 3 discs in there. It's in really good shape. But this was the thing I was most excited for besides Return to Castle Wolfenstein, because the licensing for it, who knows where the hell it's at. You can't buy it on any digital platforms. And that is The Operative, No One Lives Forever. If you're unfamiliar with it, it is a game that's kind of based in, well, it's in the 60s, obviously. It's a spy game. Takes a lot of inspiration from 007. It is a first-person shooter. It looks like this one not only has the game in it, but it also has a CD of music. Yeah, In the Lounge with No One Lives Forever, featuring 8 exclusive tracks inspired by the 60s, plus 2 groovy music tracks from the interactive and indiespace.com music search. Who knows what the heck that means? It sounds like they just went and grabbed some some music off of the internet and threw them on there. But yeah, I am very excited to play this one finally, because like I said, you just can't buy it. It's not on GOG, it's not on Steam, but it is now in my hand, and I am pretty excited about that one. But that is not the end. That is everything I got in this one, but give me just a few minutes, and I am going to set up the other stuff, and by set up, I mean put it out so I can go through it all, and we will see what else I got in the mail, because there's some stuff I'm very excited about there.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Alright guys, I'm coming back. My camera battery died earlier and I had to go run some errands, so it's been a while. There's been a bit of a hat change and my voice is gone. Allergies are killing me right now. But I wanted to talk about the rest of what I got in the mail and was able to add to my collection this week. I want to start just by going over some of the manuals and everything, some of the maps. There's a whole lot of stuff here. Like, it's a lot of role-playing games, especially stuff from 2nd edition, I guess, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, up through 3rd edition games, stuff from that era. And the first thing we got here is just this nice Icewinddale 2 map. And I'm actually going to be honest with you guys, I had no idea there was a second Icewinddale. I've never played any of these old games. I had some cousins that grew up and were very fond of, especially Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights. I remember them telling me about both when I was younger, but I had never played them. We've also got that nice big thick manual for Baldur's Gate. Yeah, Icewinddale, the second one, and then more Icewinddale. This one's super cool. Make sure I got it the right way. It is just a nice big cloth map of all the areas in the game, which is pretty nifty. These games, and well, the manuals we've gone over so far, we do have the games, and we'll get to that part eventually. They are in this nice leather CD booklet. I had a friend who, he's moving right now, and he hit me up. He's like, hey man, I know that you will take good care of these and I don't have room for them. So we set it up, got everything to me. We also got the Icewinddale bound booklet. Naturally, it's one of those old Dungeons and Dragons games, so it's huge. Got room for notes and everything. Kind of get an idea of how the heck to play it. And then also got Baldur's Gate 2, Throne of Baal. And I've not played any of the Baldur's Gate games. I'm assuming this is an expansion for the second game. Not 100% sure, but it would make sense. And then still more of that, kind of same idea. Got the Neverwinter Nights guide, or not guide, but manual. Again, just tons of stuff in there. I've got the enhanced editions of both Icewinddale and Neverwinter Nights. Not played them. I think they're remastered by Moondog? I don't know. Beamdog Studios, I think is what it is. But I noticed this on the back. It's a Dungeons and Dragons Heroes advertisement. I remember playing that game quite a bit on the original Xbox with my friends. And to the best of my knowledge, these games are developed by BioWare, who also did this game, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and obviously they've gone on to do other things. Mass Effect probably being the chief among them, Dragon Age, a lot of stuff to say the least. And got a nice little advertisement in there for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic merchandise. So, if you need a sweatshirt or a messenger bag, get at me and we'll see what we can get set up out there. We got that. Got a nice copy of, it's a little twisted, I think I've got it the right way, almost, Deus Ex on the PC. I've got all of them. I bought them on Steam because they go on sale for really cheap from time to time. But I have not actually played any of them. Heard they're fantastic, or at least a few of them are. I think Invisible War and whatever the latest, for lack of a better word, but the newest one, the last one, whatever. I've heard those two are not as good as the other ones, but I think it's Mankind Divided and then the original game are both pretty good. And then I'm unfamiliar with this game, but Rune. It's developed by Human Head Studios, I think is what that says. Completely unfamiliar with it. It looks pretty nifty, just very early 2000s artwork going on with everything. Maybe I'll find out what it is sometime here soon. But something I am familiar with, and this is another Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which I believe is technically 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, is Planescape Torment. I've heard that this is an awesome game, and I had a friend the other day, got the instruction manual here too, compared it to Disco Elysium, that computer RPG that came out a few years ago, and that game was awesome. And he's like, if you liked that, then you would like Planescape Torment. So I was like, alright, I will keep that in mind. It's definitely something to check out. I've got it now. I'm currently in the process of fixing up my old Windows XP tower. I've still got everything that goes with it, so what the heck, I might as well. I think it needs a new power supply though, so we're working on that. And then more Baldur's Gate stuff. We've got a nice, is it the right way? Yes. Nice map here. It's much bigger than the screen. I'm like trying to get it in there. All the different cities and everything, which is pretty nifty. Got that in there as well. The actual, it's interesting how large this one is. Got all the discs and everything, quick reference card. And then, as is usual, got a nice big beefy manual in there as well. And I've heard the Baldur's Gate games are awesome, so I'll have to give them a go at some point. And then something I was super excited about being in here. And this one, first it's just like, I've got the original Fallout. I think the first 2 Fallout games are great. I also really like 3 in New Vegas. But I think the first 2, there's a specific kind of charm to that top-down click and point gameplay. Got the Vault Dweller survival guide here as well, which is, just the manual. But the real kicker with all of this stuff, and something I wish was still a more common thing, is the old Brady Games strategy guide. Definitely not something you see a lot of anymore. In fact, I don't even know if they make strategy guides anymore. I think that's kind of gone the way of the dinosaur, just due to the fact that you can just put them online. But I also think that people should bring back the old ASCII art and everything that were in those back in the day. There's really no reason to keep doing them if you're not going to do that. But that's just my opinion. And then probably the biggest box out of all is the Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Ammon, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Collector's Edition. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here, and I thought this was super cool, especially considering it's still in its original box. Got another cloth map in here for the second game. I've never seen cloth maps for a game before, at least not that I can remember. Also have advertisements for Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Fallout 2, and then Planescape Torment, Black Isle Studios. Like trading cards, effectively. Guess to get an idea of, who's in the game and everything, which is pretty nifty as well. Got that in there, though. You've got a bonus disc. I have absolutely no idea what is on this. Doesn't say. Does it say on it? Just says Collector's Edition bonus disc. So whatever that entails. And then save $10 on Icewinddale. Little mail-in rebate coupon, which was pretty cool to see. And you've got the game itself there. In one of those nice, big, thick 4-disc boxes. Something that you also don't really see anymore. Especially, I had a PS3 for most of that era rather than a 360, so I had Blu-rays. You didn't really get things on more than one disc. Typically they just came on one, but that's the way it is. And then this is quite the manual it's got in there. I mean, you can see how big that is. And what else do we have in here? Oh, it's got a notepad for keeping track of everything you got. And I think this is just a Black Island Studios. Yeah, it's like an advertisement for everything they've got. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there, and I mean, still in the original packaging, which I think is super cool. Don't see that very often. I mean, seeing this large of a box of anything like this doesn't typically come around very often either, unless you're specifically looking for them, which I wasn't, but I will give them all a good home. Let me put back everything as it goes. And then the last thing that was here, let me move things around real quick. Make sure I don't drop anything. Could be easier said than done. Is we've got the actual booklet of everything here. CDs, I guess at that point. So you got Star Wars, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which we talked about earlier, Knights of the Old Republic, Mysteries of the Sith, not heard of that one, that's pretty cool, it's in there. More KOTOR, Icewinddale, more Icewinddale, Icewinddale 2, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, Quake 2. You can't have an old PC collection without a copy of Quake 2. Very important. This one's pretty cool though. Up here, got a copy of System Shock 2, Thief Gold, got Shogo Mobile Armor Division, and then this one I'm unfamiliar with, but Septerra Core, Legacy of the Creator, and then Duke Nukem 3D, because again, another copy of a game that you just have to have at that point. But anyway, that is everything I got for you guys today. I'm super excited about everything I got. There is one other thing that I did get. There is one other thing I was able to get today while I was out and about looking at all the garage sales. It is the first, console's not the right word, but it is a computer that has 64 in the name of it. I got 2 of them, as well as a monitor and a ton of games, and I am looking forward to kind of going over everything there, seeing what all is in there, but you will have to check that out in the next video, and so I will see you guys then. Until then, take care.